Today we have a real quick story that wasn't going to be today's video. This one comes from Frack Off Felgercarb, who noticed in Deadline that a story had dropped that I had missed, and I'm assuming many others did as well. In fact, he looped me in, and he also looped in Valiant Renegade, because again, most of you know these are the things we focus on. This could be some bad news, and it could be some bad news for a couple of reasons, but there's one thing that really is putting me off, and it looks like we could end up with Nielsen selling, and maybe one of the buyers isn't the best. Here we go. In what was actually probably a pretty good day for investors, Nielsen shares spike on a report that it will be bought for $15 billion by a group including Elliott Management. That's the part we need to focus on, Elliott Management, but we'll get to that in a minute. The stock closed up 30.5% at the end of the trading day at a 7-month high after a report that the measurement firm is in advanced talks to be acquired in a $15 billion deal. After rising more than 40% at one point, that's a huge jump by the way, shares finished at $22.85. This is their highest level since August of 2021. Its report about the imminent deal, the Wall Street Journal, said the valuation would include debt. Well, that's not a good thing, but you'll find out why it doesn't matter. It indicated that banks are finalizing the transaction, adding the caveat that the tentative agreement could still fall through. As a matter of company policy, Nielsen does not comment on market rumors or speculations, said the company rep. Well, of course. The consortium of companies making the acquisition includes Elliott Management. This is my concern. The firm is known for voicing its concerns about AT&T's business after taking a stake in the telecom firm. Of course, they bought into it and then complained about it. After Elliott's investment and subsequent letters to management, AT&T wound up setting spin-offs for DirecTV and Warner Media. One of those is good, the other one's wait and see. The one I think is good, obviously, is Warner Media Discovery, because I think that's going to bear fruits right away. And that's another story we may have this week for you too. Two of the key requests of the firm made to that particular company. Yeah, so those were both requests that were made by Elliott Management. This person has a long reach. We will get there. Elliott also took stake in Nielsen in 2018, urging the company to explore a potential sale. Well, of course. An acquisition would come at a consequential time for Nielsen, which has faced withering criticism for its perceived shortcomings in measuring linear TV and streaming. Well, understandably. Its accreditation was pulled, and this is inaccurate by them, by the Media Rating Council after reports of mistakes in methodology. Not true. Nielsen actually pulled their own certification. Or accreditation, whatever you want to call it, prior to the Media Rating Council doing so. In fact, Nielsen acknowledged a degree of, but chalked it up to the global crisis precautions that were being taken, which is the home visits and the collection of physical implements when they're doing these measurements. The company is preparing a new suite of solutions under the banner of Nielsen One, which we've talked about here on this channel, and I think it's probably going to be the most comprehensive way to gather ratings. That is actually anticipated to be rolled out completely by the end of this year and is touted by the company as more comprehensive, of course. Nielsen has also faced a mounting number of challengers. All of them are pretty much jokes, in my opinion. Among them, startups designed for the streaming and smart TV age. Well, yeah, I mean, you can get a certain amount of data directly from, of course, we've talked about it, Roku, and the other device that we talk about all the time, Samba TV. But again, you know, those are only for whoever has those smart devices, you know, set up in their household. Right now, Roku's winning that battle. Roku's actually working with Nielsen on data, so this is a very strange, regardless. They've been basically the third-party provider of data for the heart of the $70 billion TV ad business. It's big business, and that's why all these startups are getting started, and they're all doing it in partnership with networks, studios, which should concern everybody everybody because they have their hand in the cookie jar, so to speak. Of course, Nielsen's operations span more than film and TV. They track music and book publishing. They have extensive operations capturing consumer sentiment regarding packaged goods and other products. They have been in business since 1923. While it has a hefty debt load, the company has been in a fairly solid financial shape. It reported earnings per share of 46 cents in the fourth quarter, which is good. It was ahead of Wall Street analysts' forecasts. Revenue was at $894 million in a period which narrowly missed the street's outlook. So they were probably looking for, I don't know, maybe $895. I didn't look it up. But again, none of this should matter too terribly much, except again for Elliott Management's involvement. And here's why. In the Forbes article from just a couple of weeks ago, Wall Street's most feared activist, did you hear that word? Activist investor is changing his game after shaking up Twitter, AT&T, and Samsung. That's right, billionaire Paul Singer. He made his name pressuring companies, but recent windfalls in private equity have prompted him to shift tactics. This concerns me. This person has an axe to grind on a whole lot of issues, and unfortunately he can lead companies down the wrong path. In other words, he's been described as a shark. He's not necessarily the Wolf of Wall Street, but he's more like the film Wall Street and several other films like Quicksilver. You can see this type of investor coming a mile away. He works in basically the debt side of things. He tries to capture entities when they're at their most vulnerable, at their weakest point, and then he does what he does with them. Now, while he doesn't necessarily disassemble them completely, he does go crazy when it comes to changing the corporate culture. In the ratings game, that could lead to a lot of problems for a lot of these entities, most specifically in this case, Nielsen. That's concerning. But hey, like you said, this seems to be, the focus of changing everything across the board for a lot of these activist investors. And I'm kind of at the point now where I'm curious what you think. Is this something that I should be aware of, worried about? I'm going to tell you my answer to that. I think it is. I think that we should all be concerned with this because it will take something that has been pretty solid for a very long period of time and probably shifting it pretty decently. Hopefully, Elliott Management doesn't have that kind of influence since it's going in with a bunch of other interested parties, but I would be concerned. Second, do you think that we should start finding ways to maybe limit how some of these activist investors get involved in some of these companies? Maybe we should be pressuring people at a political level on how some of these things are handled and dealt with? I don't know. Or again, do you think this is perfectly fine? Business as usual? Don't care. And if you have any other comments, of course, go ahead and put them down here below. And again, I want to say thank you to another member of our very important fellowship for sending me this story. I do appreciate that indeed. And with that being said, be sure to support other independent creators here on the platform, like I mentioned Valiant Renegade and many others that, we regularly get to hang out with, or we consume their videos, like incredible independents like, Clownfish TV, and of course, even, my friend Comics Division. Believe me, they could really use that support. If you like what they're doing, hit the like button, subscribe, be sure to share out their content, and do make as many comments as possible. It just really does help with engagement, and it does help build the channel. And of course, I'll end the video the same way I always do. Be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye.
Hey there, one last quick note before I let you go, and before we make it to the end of this video. I, CultureCasino, have a brand new Teespring store. That's right, you can now go to Teespring, look up CultureCasino, or use the link in the video below, and pick out some handsome and beautiful CultureCasino merchandise with many different designs and styles and colors. Many different items. I was actually surprised at all of the things that you could create, And I have some more designs and items on the way here shortly. But, you know, if you want to support the channel in that way, there is some merch. Otherwise, here comes the ending. Thanks for visiting today. Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can, as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.